Hello, lovely souls. I see you, and I feel your spirit, power, healing, and resilience. You have gone so far, and those around you can't help but notice. They perceive you as someone who has not only healed, but is continuing to heal with each step and breath. The version of yourself. Standing before them is a tribute to your path and change. Let us halt for a moment. To all of you who are new, we welcome you to this hallowed sanctuary. We do not hold back. We move onward, full of vigor, purpose, and no breaks. And to those that return, you already know how much I adore you. Every word of encouragement, prayer, and love you send, it matters. It all matters. And if you're here, you're part of our family, whether or not you subscribe. The door is constantly open. Come back whenever you need to refuel and be reminded of your importance and purpose. Let us now delve in. Allow the words of 2 Corinthians 4:8-9 to seep deeply into your spirit. We are strongly pressed on all sides but not crushed, perplexed but not discouraged, persecuted yet not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. Have you heard that? Pressed, perplexed, persecuted but not destroyed. Allow that to soak for a moment. You have been through the fire, tried and tested. However, you are still standing, unbroken. Allow me to take you back for a moment, beloved. There was a point when the weight of your problems seemed unbearable, when the nights were too long to bear, and the hush surrounding you was deafening. You were in a pit so deep that you feared you'd never get out. Do you recall that time? It wasn't too long ago, was it? There were days when you questioned yourself, wondering if you had the strength to keep on. You looked about and noticed how the individuals you expected to be there, the friends you believed were genuine, began to depart when things became rough. When your light waned, they vanished. Maybe a few reached out and extended a helping hand, but far too many remained mute. They watched from the sidelines while you fought, and in those moments you discovered who actually cared for you. It stung, right? That knowledge cut deep. You could tell who was rooting for you and who didn't care. But look at yourself now. You survived. You believed you couldn't make it. When the weight felt too heavy, you mustered the strength to stand again. It was not easy. Oh no. The journey was hard, filled with tears, sleepless nights, and doubts that threatened to consume you whole. You questioned everything. Your purpose, path, and on occasion, faith. Despite everything, you persisted. I'd like you to keep a Bible scripture close. Isaiah 4,110 states, "Fear not, for I am with you, be not discouraged. For I am your God, I will make you stronger. Yes, I'll help you. I will support you with my righteous right hand." Isn't it exactly what he did? When everyone else left, God stayed. Even when the path seemed darkest, his hand was there, even if you couldn't see it. Healing, my friend, looks great on you. But you didn't forget, did you? You have not forgotten the dark days. And perhaps that is a good thing, because those days shaped you. They taught you things that the light could never do. You appreciate the sunshine today, because you understand what it's like to be without it. You don't take joy for granted because you know what it's like to live in misery. That shadow still persists. It no longer scares you. Actually, you appreciate it. You understand that without it, you wouldn't be who you are now. So I'm 23, even though I'm walking through the darkest valley. I have no fear of evil, because you are with me. Your rod and your belongings, they console me. And is it true? God walked with you through the valley. Even when you felt alone, he never left your side. Do you remember sitting alone in the quiet room, It wasn't only the lack of noise, it was the loss of hope. You sat with your thoughts, and the weight of them became terrible. Is this it, did you think? Is this the end for me? You were unsure whether you had the strength to get back up. And honestly, there were times when you didn't want to. Giving up felt easier. People had opinions. Oh, they usually do. Some murmured behind your back, saying things like, "They'll never make it. They are too far gone." You've heard about the rumors, the judgments. They didn't realize what you were going through. They acted as if they knew the entire tale. That stung, didn't it? People you believed were close and should have backed you were the ones who questioned you the most. But even in the depths of doubt, a small part of you hung on. It was weak, scarcely noticeable, but it said, "Keep going." That whisper wasn't yours. It was God. His voice reminded you that even when everyone else turned away, He did not. When the world allows you to fall, He is there to help you up, even if you cannot feel it. According to Isaiah 4029, He strengthens the weak and enhances their power. And this is exactly what He did for you. There were days when you felt so overwhelmed by everything that breathing became difficult. You went through the motions, putting on a brave facade, but your insides were disintegrating. Every small effort seemed huge. Getting out of bed was like climbing a mountain. The blackness was dense, stifling, and stuck to you no matter how much you tried to shake it away. But then something changed. It was not an overnight miracle. No, this is not how it works. Healing is not a quick process. It appears in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. Perhaps it was a random moment the day you noticed the pain in your chest wasn't as severe as it had been. Perhaps it was in the morning when you awoke. And for the first time in a long time, you felt a glimmer of hope. You observed the sun shining slightly brighter. And then, very gently, you started to mend. People who watched from afar, those who questioned you, those who abandoned you, began to take attention as well. They noticed that something was odd about you. They didn't say it at first, but you could sense it. The expressions were curious, almost bewildered. How did they get through? You can image them wondering, how are they still standing then? One by one, people began reaching out. Those who had walked away began writing messages and leaving remarks. "I'm glad to see you're doing better. You definitely have gone a long way." They had no idea of your path, how many nights you'd spent crying out to God, asking why this was happening to you. They were unaware of the psychological struggles that fought in your thoughts every day. But now they notice the shine on your face and want to be a part of it. Let me remind you of this reality, my beloved. When God says something is done, it is done. You may feel called to someone, as if it is your responsibility to stay, or as if you are forced to cling on. However, if God is urging you to let go, now is the time. Stop fighting fights. He is already settled. Once you've done everything you can, let them go. Detachment is not equivalent to failure. It is wisdom. You have perfected the skill of letting go, and that is why you are healing. That's why you're gleaming. And believe me, people notice it. It's not the shoes you bought or the new earrings that capture their attention. It's a transformation taking place within you. They may believe they are envious of your outward appearance, but what troubles them is your inside development, the strength they cannot measure, and the peace they cannot afford. They are running a race. They'll never win since they're chasing what you've nurtured within. Now, let's return to the truths that are fueling your newfound tranquility. No more people pleasing, no more crumbs. If they don't bring the entire bread, don't even consider it. It is not your obligation to heal everyone. Here are the lessons you've got to learn. And now that you know better, you are performing better. That is why, when they look at you now, they see the result of your efforts, the evidence of your development. They've witnessed your struggle. They've witnessed the manipulation, control, and attacks, witchcraft, narcissism. Every scheme is hurled at you, but here you are, still climbing, still overcoming, still glowing, still glowing. They know exactly what they did to you. They remember how you cried, how you were down and out. Perhaps you were homeless or needed a ride. And yet, here you are, not the same person. They can't get their heads around it. You are not simply surviving. You are prospering. It puzzles them. Sweetheart, I know what you've been through. The weight and the battle. The days when it seemed impossible to get back up. And yet, every day you rise anew. People are starting to notice. They see you strolling with this new strength and light, and they're not sure what to do with it. Some of them don't recognize you anymore. They are performing double takes, squinting to check if it's actually you. Because the previous version of you, the one that was lost, was broken, looking for validation. That person is no longer alive, gone. You may not feel like you've arrived, but believe me, you're not where you used to be. Your presence speaks louder than words. You don't have to say anything. People still have diverse feelings about you. God is bringing you in places you never imagined you'd be, in front of those who once doubted you, and they can't get away from the sight of your light. Listen, you are no longer disregarding your instincts. You have established clear boundaries, not for others, but for yourself. You're walking with wisdom now. You've learned to trust your instincts. Believe the small voice inside that says this energy isn't appropriate. Regardless of what individuals say, you learn to observe what they do. That is why you are healing. That is why you are thriving. It's more than just an internal transformation. It's beginning to show on the exterior. People are unsure how to handle it. They pushed you to the edge. I thought they'd watch you fall. But you didn't simply survive. You grew. They now perceive you as someone they scarcely recognize. Perhaps they will run into you at the shop, and they will appear exhausted from what they attempted to do to you. But you'll be sparkling. You'll be shining with peace. They couldn't steal from you. What exactly is this newfound peace comprised of? Let us break it down. Number one, no more people who enjoy that version of you. The person who went above and beyond to make others happy is no longer with us. You released that load, and as a result, you gained freedom. Number two, if they're bringing you crumbs, don't bother. You've quit accepting less than you deserve. No more breadcrumbs. You're currently munching on life. And the crumbs. Let the birds take them. And number three, this one is significant. Write it down. Mark it your heart. It is not your job to heal everyone. Some of you, chosen ones, need to hear that today. It's easy to feel like you're carrying the entire world on your shoulders. But listen carefully. It is not your responsibility to heal everyone. You are not a savior. That is not your calling. The folks around you notice the change. They see the light you're stepping into, and some of them won't get it. But that isn't your concern. Continue pushing forward. Keep healing and growing. This trip hasn't ended yet, and that looks great on you, dear. Stay tuned, for this is only the beginning. We are about to delve deeper. You've been through the difficulties, but there's still more mending to come. More victories are on the horizon. Let us continue walking this path together. If you found it useful, you can support us with super thanks up to $20 and join our membership.